Good morning. It is Saturday, December 15th, day 15 of Vlogmas, and I am getting ready to head out because I have an all-day workshop for how to more efficiently run your church and how to build up systems to make your church more effective. It's been a year-long program, and this is the last session. It's been a very good session. Today, though, that headache that has been plaguing me for the last 2 days is still continuing to plague me. These sessions are great, and they're full of tons of information, but they always make my head hurt at the end of them, so I'm a little bit concerned about what's going to happen today. I've taken some stuff. It hasn't kicked in yet. I'm hoping that maybe once I get there and get some food, it'll be a little bit better. But anyway, that's where I will be pretty much all day today, and then I'll come home and kind of finish getting stuff around for church tomorrow. But before I go, I wanted to talk really quickly about this cowl that I'm wearing. This cowl is called A Half Dozen Roses, and it was released by the woman that owns the local yarn shop near me. And this is there's kind of a sweet story behind this. It's knit out of 6 20-gram minis, although you could use smaller ones if you choose. If you had 10 grams, and it would be smaller. And the idea is you just basically knit them until you run out, like knit each color until you run out of the color. So it's a good way to like stash bust as well if you so choose. But anyway, these 6 colors and this pattern were purchased for me for my birthday by David, which I thought was really sweet because when you get the person, where do you go to get a gift for the person that knits in your life? The local yarn shop. And he went in there by himself and talked to the girl and was like, she knits and I don't know, and she likes locally dyed yarn. And so this is an indie dyed yarn from a place here in Michigan called AJHC Wools. So yeah, it's just, to be honest with you, when I was knitting this, I didn't think I would wear it much because it's almost like it goes down over your shoulders, so it gets wider as it goes. And I didn't think I'd wear it that much, but if I'm perfectly honest, I wear it all the time because I can just throw it on over my head. I don't have to fuss with it like you do a shawl. So I would highly recommend this. I think you can get it on Ravelry. I don't think you have to go to the shop and buy the actual pattern. I have the actual physical pattern. A Half Dozen Roses. Lindsay Porter, I believe, is the designer. Potter, not Porter. So I am off to that, and I will check in with you guys when I get home because I won't be able to do it while I'm there. And frankly, you probably would not be too interested. So I will talk to you all later. So I'm back home now after my workshop today. Their workshops are really good. I do enjoy them, and they are really inspiring, a little overwhelming because there's so many ways to do things better. And there's so much that can be done that it gets a little bit overwhelming when you kind of face it all. But one of the things that we talk about, and this applies really to everything, not just like church stuff, is the concept of constant and never-ending improvement, that we can always work a little harder, or not work a little harder necessarily, but we can always improve on the way that we are doing things. And we talk about this concept of 1%. So if every week we improve by 1%, and 1%, eventually that adds up. And, after a year, you're 50% better than when you started. And that's a much more manageable way to approach things when you're looking at changing things or improving strategies or however you want to look at it. This could be a business approach, it could be a personal approach, it could be a church approach. So there's a little nugget for the rest of you for that. But yeah, the 1%. And just 1% all the time, and all those 1%s, they eventually add up, right? A penny here and a penny there, and the pennies add up over time. So that's kind of one of the things that we have to remember from that. I still have this headache, and it's, oh my gosh, I'm getting really tired of it. So I am home now. I do not have Philip this weekend because he is celebrating Christmas with his dad at his dad's mom's. So normally he would come home tonight and go to church with me tomorrow, but they are doing Christmas, so he's not, and that's completely fine. And I'm glad that he's getting to do Christmas with his grandma on his dad's side of the family. So he won't be home. So I've got to do a couple of things, print out a couple of things for tomorrow's worship service, and I probably am not going to do much more than that because, wow, this headache is not good. I do need to open my advent calendar, and I don't have Abby to do it because she's been with me the last 2 weekends, so she's opened every single one with me, and now she's at her dad's this weekend, and I don't have her to open it with. But I don't want to wait either. I think she will forgive me for opening it today's and tomorrow's without her. So I think I'm gonna do that. So you're opening day 15 of the Advent calendar. And Abby and I have been doing predictions, so I'll go ahead and do my prediction for this one. I am going to go with one of them that Abby's been saying is green. We had red yesterday, so I'm going to say maybe green today. Ooh, not green. It is a golden, kind of yellow color with some hot pink in there. Very, very cool. And there's even, I love how you just get like these random bits of like a little bit of blue in there, and there's a little tiny bit of green, and some darker gold and some hot pink. So that is day number 15. So since this is not the most interesting vlog, since I was in like a conference all day, I thought that I would show you guys kind of how I have my stash set up. And this is where my knitting stuff all lies in like this 4x4, not 4x4. How about 3x3 cube structure? I've got my ball winder and my Swift right there, as well as a jar that's got some leftover bits in it. This is actually from the cowl that I showed you today. This is stuff left over. I left some yarn left because I wanted to knit it into my cozy memories. I do not have Advent minis in there, obviously, because otherwise that would be like full. So I wanted to show you on the top shelf. This is really this is like a rice thing, so ignore that. But I've got like my blocking stuff. This is a notebook that has like notes about designs in it. This is something for dyeing yarn, and then this is a pattern book. So that's in this cubicle. This is some bright Knit Picks yarn that's worsted that I had purchased to do another temperature blanket, but I kind of decided to stop doing that. So I have this yarn now, and I'm not really sure what I want to do with it. It's just kind of been sitting here. I should probably consider destashing most of it because a lot of it I'm not necessarily going to use. Then in this drawer is all like larger weight yarn. So these right here, this is actually a sweater's quantity of yarn for the Comfort Fade Cardi that Andrea already designed that I wanted to knit. This is from Goosey Fibers. So this stuff is all like bookmarked for something. I just didn't get around to knitting that this year like I wanted to. And then in this, this is stuff from my first temperature blanket. This is Knit Picks Preciosa. And that's what most of this is, really, is that leftover stuff that I haven't really decided what to do with. This is some Brooklyn tweed that was left over from my Oxbow cardigan. I've got quite a bit of that left. This kind of messy in here. Some Knit Picks Swish. Some really weird like novelty kind of yarn that I knit a baby hat out of. This stuff is actually really soft. But there's not like enough of that to do anything with. I do have a skein in here of Malabrigo Rios in this lettuce colorway. So I do have that. But yeah, this is like worsted DK weight kind of stuff. I realize you can't really see down in the bottom, and I can't either, and I'm not going to dig down in there because who knows what's going to come out if I start digging down in there. So that is this top drawer. Then in the middle, right here, this is all undyed stuff. Just plain yarn that I want to play around with and dye. This is just kind of an empty box that doesn't have anything in it that Abby gave me to do my box of socks, but it doesn't fit. And then these are all socks for my box of socks 2018. These are patterns. My Nitty Knotty, gigantic needles, and some yarn that I've kind of stashed away for something else. Not the most organized, this bottom row. Then we'll go to this drawer. In this drawer is a lot of Knit Picks yarn. Knit Picks Felici basically is what this is. And then some colors for heels, cuffs, and toes, like contrast colors. So this is a lot of Knit Picks Felici because I did this thing like when they were doing their clearance. I bought one of each, and then I needed to get like contrasting colors for heels, cuffs, and toes because just one isn't enough. Well, it's enough to do shorty socks for myself, but if I want anything longer, I have to have something more. So that's what's in that drawer. And then lastly in this drawer, this is all of like mostly indie dyed yarn and sock set stuff, sock yarn basically. So yarn for socks or maybe shawls if I decide to do that. And the reason that I'm doing this is I wanted to talk a little bit about my Christmas Eve cast on, and I think I'm going to use this, which is Molly of a Homespun House, her Christmas at Hogwarts colorway. And I got the sock set with the charm, but I don't have the charm in here. So I think this is going to be my Christmas Eve cast on, even though it's not necessarily like screaming Christmas. I think it's really beautiful, and I love purple is one of my favorites, and I love this. So I think this will be my Christmas Eve cast on. I just don't know what sock pattern I'm going to cast on yet. So that's that. Then this is a mini skein set from Legacy Fiber Arts, the Great Knittish Skein Off. And I'm going to use these, I believe, to knit the last pair of socks in Mina's collection. And then, like, I have a problem with Molly's yarn. Like, I have a lot of it. Some of it is kind of earmarked together like that. I think might be a shawl. Oh, maybe that's all that I have left of her yarn. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 skeins of Molly's yarn. Just hanging out in my stash because, like I said, I have a real problem with her yarn and liking it a lot. I have another skein from Legacy Fiber Arts. This is from like 2 years ago when they did a collaboration with Freckled Whimsy and did a Halloween, or not a Halloween, yeah, that's really Halloween-y, a Valentine's colorway. And then I have some other Knit Picks yarn in here. This is a skein that I dyed myself that I'm not sure what I want to do with. Probably knit a pair of socks out of it. So yeah, this is pretty much my stash. It's not anything huge or crazy, but that's what it is. Like I said, that's all Homespun House because, like I said, I have a problem with Molly's yarn and loving it, and I want all of it all the time. So yeah, so there we have it. Alright everyone, I just kind of wanted to wrap up this Vlogmas video. I hope you enjoyed the little look into my stash that I gave you. I know it probably wasn't the best video because the lighting was not the best because it was dark and just done by the overhead light in my room. But I just wanted to close off this day 15 of Vlogmas, and yeah, 10 days till Christmas, guys. Wow, it's gone really fast. So have a good night, everyone, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.